Hello, my friends. It is I, Alphinius Goo, and I am here in Goo headquarters with Camera Mandy behind the camera. Say hello, Camera Mandy.
Hello.
There, the YouTube is satisfied. Yes, it's fine.
They do this all the time, and like when they record like Price is Right, they just have someone behind the scenes, and then they just re-record lines to make sure they got it.
Constantly
Yeah, exactly. Good morning, everyone. How are you all?
Hello, friends. Hello. It is good to see you. It's good to be here. It is marvelous. Again, we are back home after a long spate of conventions and all of that stuff, and we are very excited for the stream today. We've got, of course, some wonderful social media things to go over. We're going to talk a little bit about the contributors submission round, the next one that's coming up. I want to give you a status on some things that are going on in regards to Magica. We've got, of course, the wonderful beginnings of our Vilandea tour, and Josh and Kiah are going to join us, so we're very excited about that, and a bunch of other things. So what do you think, Camera Mandy? Should we get going?
Yeah, I think we should. We have lots of stuff going on today. Also, I want you to hold up the two folios I put in front of you. These are our giveaways for today.
Yes. We are giving away one of each. A Quember, yes.
And a Naftalia.
And a Naftalia.
Well, you held up the wrong one.
Quember, a Quember,
yes.
And the Naftalia.
Exactly.
A Quember and the Naftalia. Quember, and Naftalia.
So we'll be doing that at the end of the stream. We will not actually be doing the Nether Dark today, but we will just be having a fun little giveaway.
Yes, we're going to give some prizes away because we do that, but because of our having Josh and Kiah on, we want to give them plenty of time. And so apologies to all the people who are waiting on to see what happens next.
I know the cabin. We were just like left on a cliffhanger. What is going to happen in this cabin?
We have to wait one more week to find out what happens in the Nether Dark. Yes, but that is very exciting. Also, I happened to notice this morning, we don't have it on social media, we'll probably put it up next week, but Harry this week did 2 marvelous miniatures. So we've got Azer and we've got marvelous Seamus. So Seamus and Azure. So we're going to show them next week. Yes, Camera Mandy?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
The social media stuff that we did today, I pulled yesterday. And so I've seen a lot of good stuff posted in the last 24 hours.
Yeah. So we'll catch you on that next week.
But let's start first off with making sure that everyone has this on their calendar. It's coming up at the end of the month, April 30th.
Yes,
our awesome Carnival-themed stream.
My completely wastrel brother. Nobody likes him.
Except everyone loves him. Yeah, nobody likes him. Everybody loves Alfabio.
No one loves Alfabio.
I'm working on purchasing your wig right now. We have to talk about that after the stream. I'm so excited. Hey, can you give us an update on his folio? Or, sorry, on his portrait?
Well, we are working on that. We will probably have it done just in time for after the stream.
Oh, not happening.
Yes, we are working on it diligently.
Okay, I'm really excited to see the Alfabio portrait. So
yes, the Alfabio portrait.
Okay, we're gonna zoom through a few of these. I'm gonna show off just some swag boxes that we've been getting pictures of from our marvelous folks. So this is Carrie's box, and then she also posted a picture of her Gooey Cube shelf.
Yes.
I loved it.
And they also have some secret things. She said they have squirreled away for like collector type things.
Yeah, you don't want the sun damage on the collector's items.
Yes.
Are those all the editions of like Darkest Dream with mistakes in them?
The Darkest Dream did not really have the error. The error was really there was one in the cyclopedia that we changed very early on. There was, I'm trying to remember, the big one was in Menace in the Mist. Yeah, so if you're one of those early Menace in the Mist, you might have something valuable in the future. Who knows? Right now, it's worth absolutely what you paid for it, and probably a wonderful adventure. So, hi, Carrie, good to see you, and thank you for putting up those marvelous pictures. And then, what was next? What was
sorry, I wasn't going to spend too much time on each of them because I have so many of these swag pictures.
But this is Corgan, right?
Yeah,
this
Corgan.
Is marvelous. Yes, look at that. So Corgan, I got to tell you about Corgan. He is a friend of Chris Grognick, and really has been playing with Chris and really enjoying it. And he loves what we're doing. And I've had some wonderful opportunities to email with him and chat with him a little bit. And this is just how our friendships and fandoms growing. We just more and more people are finding the materials that we're doing and love the idea of a community-based world and all of this stuff. And it's wonderful. Corgan, welcome. And all the new folks, there are quite a few. Welcome as well. Indeed.
We have a good idea from Corey in the chat. Basically, put together a package where people can buy their character folios as a package. So, like, if you start with 6 people, you can buy 6 folios with a small discount.
That is a good idea. That is a very good idea, Corey. I will talk to the team about that.
Yeah,
so we can do it probably has to be like 6, right? That's probably the number, not 5 or something, because it's different people. So, but yes, we'll have to figure that out.
It's a great idea. All right, so here's Brittany with her package. She got the Darkenhaven poster.
The Darkenhaven poster, yes. That was because
the Great Gooey Adventure,
right? That was that giveaway. Those are wonderful. A couple of people got those, so very, very pleased. And this is
Harry
this is Harry.
Yeah. So people, I know some people might be like, why did you get so much stuff? But that's because Harry GM'd for us, and this is partly his Kickstarter, and then he also won a bunch of prizes. So
we are definitely free with the prizes.
Yes, we love giving away some swag. So this is Alan from Canada.
Alan from Canada got his stuff, and it did not get blown up, which we are thankful for. Which I
did not. Good. I forgot to get the screenshot of Ben's box from Germany.
Oh gosh, that.
Oh my gosh.
I saw that picture. Before we we'll talk about that. Then we'll talk about this slide. Yeah, Ben finally got his big box, and he took a picture of it on the outside, and it was all torn up, and we were just like, I was like, oh no, please. But because of the way we wrap it and all of that stuff, I guess it made it through just fine. Which was marvelous, And
I will say, like, we really try hard to package our stuff well. It is not always perfect. Do not be shy about reaching out to us if your stuff comes damaged. We have insurance through the post office, which takes care of all that.
At least that's what they say. I don't know if you've ever gotten a single insurance payment.
Well, they credit it to our account.
Right. Okay.
So it goes towards other postage. So
got it.
Yeah. So and we ship out a lot. Like we've shipped out in this last week. We've shipped out over 160 boxes, and we have many more to go.
Yes, including our new. Some 40 retailers, right? We are actually around 40.
Well, we have more than 40 because then we got more after GammaCon. We got like a whole other.
Yes.
Oh, but the good news is, and I put this in the newsletter yesterday. Our printer just got another print press.
New press.
So this is supposed to change our lives in terms of keeping up with the demand. So I'm so excited.
Well, it's marvelous. So look. So what is this here? This is who put this one up? Camera ready?
This one's Crystal.
Oh, hey, Crystal. Yes, I'm glad you posted that up. That put a smile on my face, and I'm glad you're enjoying the materials as well. It's marvelous.
Yeah. This is John.
And there's John. Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna say, I don't know who picked out this art to be the top cover art of our art package, but I feel like we could have picked like a beautiful scene from Zyathé, or just anything other.
That guy's perfect.
Oh, he just looks angry. He's like, I'm going to be angry at you.
Yes, he's not a happy man. Clearly a problem, right?
Yeah. So yes, we'll work on maybe next time putting a prettier art on top. I mean, he's good to have. He emotes a lot for an NPC, but.
Indeed.
So, okay, so this is Tim.
Hi, Tim. Yes.
Yeah, and there's more of these too. I only grabbed a few of them.
I really tell you, y'all, it makes our day when you put up your stuff. We can see it, and it just makes us so happy because we do spend a lot of time. There's a lot of effort done here. We don't have like a shipping department. This is really a small little company operating out of our little office here, and we we battle hard to get all these boxes out and all of that stuff. And
I'm feeling very buff right now.
Yes, well, you all, cameraman, you in particular, really put a lot of effort in to help get out all this stuff over the last week and a half. And I thank you.
Anyone has ever picked up a box of 7 Dreadmist curses?
Oh yeah.
It's aggressive.
6.5 pounds a piece. Yes.
Yeah, it was. I think the box was 40 pounds. It's impressive. Okay, this is Dennis. He won the Deck of Perilous Fortuity.
The antiqued one.
Yeah, the antique Deck of Perilous Fortuity, and we actually have to talk a little bit about the antique Deck of Perilous Fortuity due to a little flub on our part.
There's a flub.
Yes.
Do I know about this flub?
Yeah, it was the Kickstarter. Pretty darn gooey.
Yes, pretty darn gooey people. Do not worry. You are going to get your deck of antique Deck of Perilous Fortuity there was just a little, if you pledged Pretty Darn Gooey, either early bird or afterwards, just the backer kit thing didn't have it listed in there. And so it was late on us figuring out that it was not listed. So do not worry, you will get your antique decks in your next shipment, promise.
And we'll send out an email for everyone who doesn't watch this. But
and most of
they're not
yours,
watching
you should
it.
probably keep those in the plastic. We didn't make very many of those. And
keep them in the plastic?
Yes, don't play with these. The antique deck.
Oh, he's saying these are going to be a collector's
item. We did not
item.
make very many of those.
Oh, okay.
They will never be made again. There may be another antique deck, but it will be a different style. So
interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the times to come. Yes,
okay.
Indeed.
So this is from Star. Her and Adam made a fabulous table and demonstrated it with the deck of Perilous Fortuity.
Yes, and they were playing Conundrews, and there was actually, I think, Star and Adam's son put up. Yeah, there it is.
I know. Look
well
at
done, cameraman.
Hey, I got it well done. I got a one well done from Alphinius, guys.
Cheers to you.
Yeah. So yeah, I still need to learn some of these games. I haven't played anything.
Conundrews is really
on the deck
fun,
of Perilous
and
Fortuity.
It's based on Polish poker, and Casey really innovated that one, and then. We've got Hand of the Hanatas, which was Corey. He kind of innovated that one, and then Fools Down, which is really Texas Hold'em poker with many crazy twists. Yes, it's definitely fantastical poker.
I love it. So here is we're getting close to being done with the maps.
I want to tell about these maps.
Right,
so people, the Gloomport is crazy because it has 9 poster maps that are all hand illustrated. And we are now working on the Gravenstown map, and that leaves us, once we're done with Gravenstown, just 3 to go. So we are getting close on producing all of these, and when you get them, they're going to blow your mind. I mean, many of you have seen the pictures. They're just so wonderful and so well done. And I just can't imagine your party not just eating up those maps. Just oh my gosh, what's this? Where should we go down here? And we are very excited about the Gloomport. We have a wonderful group now, just like we did with Darkenhaven, who's working on the Gloomport. And we are stoked about some of the ideas that are coming out, and of course some of the original ideas that were already there, and combining all of this into this wonderful stew that I think is going to make for a most incredible portage deep beneath Darkenhaven. Yes, indeed.
So I am texting Randy right now because he asked about the chat feature, and I think what he's referring to is sometimes we're able to put your guys' comments up on screen.
Yes.
That is when we use a program called StreamYard.
Yes, that's correct.
And there is a way to do it with vMix, but I have not had the time to actually sit down and figure that out.
Too much shipping for cameramen.
So
figure out how to put the comments
yes.
up. We got to figure that out. So Randy's telling you how to do it? Is that what's going on?
No, he was just asking about the comment feature. Just know that I will at some point figure out A, how to play music on this program, and B, how to put up comments.
Yes, soon. Yes.
Yes,
we're using this for like a year and a half now, 2 years.
Hey, vMix has only been for like 6 months. No, 5 months. Anyway, so, but yeah, I will work on that. Also, we are going to be moving studios here in like 2 months.
Yes, we are leaving this Gooey headquarters and moving to a new Gooey headquarters. Which is a little more convenient for many of us, and also a little better space and all kinds of things that
more shipping space.
More shipping space, yes. So it'll be a lot better for our little advertising agency that is here, and also for our marvelous Gooey Cube. So we are excited to make this move. And so those of you who come to visit Gooey headquarters in the future, you'll have to go to a new location. In fact, Trey is coming today. Aha, I know it because he has talked to me about it and bringing his marvelous wife because it's her birthday. Yes.
Marvelous. Oh, and it's Josh's birthday.
Oh, yes, it is Joshua's birthday too. So
but we're going to bring him on.
We're going to bring them on.
And we should actually do that pretty soon. So let me finish getting through social media.
We got some other cool things we got to show. We really need to show these. Right?
Okay. So we showed a lot of Magicka art last week, and then you just posted up this one. Yes, and this is another
gnome, right? A gnome sorcerer. And really, I just think you're going to love Magicka. It is in the manuscript right now. As usual, we can't seem to contain ourselves and keep books to the promised page count. So Magicka, I think right now in the manuscript is about 330, 340 pages. It is filled with all manner of wonderful magic items and new spells. It's got It's got wonderful lore about mages and magical places. It's got, of course, information about flow stones. It's got new classes like the Fusilier in there. I mean, it is really a wonderful tome. And those of you who got it in the Kickstarter, especially if you were a platinum backer, you got it for an incredible value because with the increases of paper and all of this stuff that's been hitting us, you got such a deal you can't even believe. So, and I'm pleased that you did. I want to make sure that you understand that we are so grateful to our Kickstarter backers, and we are doing everything we can, even though we are late, to exceed your expectations in everything else. And I so hope those of you who are getting these, you see the East Verdestia tome that is 400 pages when it was supposed to be 250. You see the West Verdestia tome that's 350 pages. It was supposed to be 250, and it's filled with artworks and all kinds of wonderful lore. I just hope it gives you the good heart there, that you think Gooey Cube is doing right by you, because that is our goal.
I would argue, as someone who has now shipped stuff, that we should make it smaller.
Cameraman, stick to doing the cameras.
Okay, agreed. Okay. Anyway, no, I think everyone's loving it, and I think just by the reactions we're getting from people opening up their Kickstarter stuff, that it's pretty phenomenal.
And wait till people start reading, that East Verdestia. I did not honestly think we could top West Verdestia, and I would say East Verdestia is very comparable and in some ways better, just as West Verdestia is in some ways better than East. So they are wonderful, unique locations, and that means truly, if you think about it, Verdestia is done, except for probably a supplement on Shard and Gloom, which we might do in the Kickstarter that we do here later in the year, and that also means we are moving to Sundestia. Yes. Marvelous Sundestia.
I am so excited about Sundestia, but I do have to keep us moving along because we got to get Kiah.
Yes, this is Williams.
I know.
This is Elijah. Yes, this is Elijah, and what a wonderful portrait.
And if you go look at this on the Facebook, it's a 3D photo, which kind
Elijah
of
made
is
it
super
so that
cool.
You can kind of move it back and forth, and it was really, really cool. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So this is from Charity.
Yeah, this is amazing.
And so she just went to the Grammys. And if you look on the top left strap of her purse, there is our little button that she got from Genghis Khan.
There is Gooey Cube on the red carpet.
On the red carpet at the Grammys.
Yes, that is marvelous, Charity. Thank you for doing that. It warmed our hearts. We were all kind of cheering about it around Goo headquarters. It is such a fun thing that you did that. So thank you for doing that. I hope you enjoy these little social media jaunts that we go through, because I know lots of people don't get a chance to see all these things, right? And so it is fun to kind of see stuff as it goes. Obviously, we don't put up artworks from other folks
unless they're credited.
And even if they're credited, we're a little careful about it, right? So that's why you don't tend to see those as much. But we appreciate Keith and Kevin and Adam and Heather and certainly Jim and others who put up these. Pamela does it. Put up these wonderful inspirational artworks so often that just give us these. I tell you, I when I envisioned the Den originally, right, the Gooey Game Master's Den of Enlightenment, I sort of envisioned it more of a gaming thing and less of a creative thing. And as it's evolved because of you, it has become this wonderful, just creative place that I just get so much inspiration from. And I look at posts and I read what people say and I see these pictures, and it is just magnificent. And I thank you all for participating the way you do and for being a part of it, And plus everyone is so kind and nice and complimentary and considerate, and it is just such a breath of fresh air, considering what kind of goes on in other places on the internet, So this is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Absolutely. So this is Keaton, who is preparing, I believe, to play Coldest of Blood.
Coldest of Blood.
So, we love the setup. Very excited to hear what your group has to think
So
of
many
Coldest of
don't know, but Coldest of Blood was originally the first chapter of the campaign.
I'm glad that you switched it up.
Yes. Oh no, it was the right move.
Yeah.
It was the right move to do Carnival. It was right. All of it was the right move. But that was the original. Chapter. And so now it is chapter 3. So and we have gotten much great feedback about it. I can't wait for the people to transition into chapter 4. And of course, we're working right now on chapter 5 too, which I think is very exciting. Dev Stronin. Yes. Yes, the depths.
So I didn't put it up here. I meant to, but we're playing through chapter 4, and my dad is the GM for that one, and he had maps all like sticky noted, and I posted a picture up in the den of the sticky noted things, and I made a pun that I thought was really funny. I made it to Alphinius Goo. I said, "May all your adventures be sticky noted."
Sticky noted.
I don't know. I just had to throw that out there because I thought it was clever.
It's pretty much a dad joke.
Yes, I love dad jokes though. However, like they are the best. So anyway, okay. Last but not least, we have progress on the Dead and Fallow cover.
Yes, but this is only just still very. It's not its final. Wait till you see its final. It's coming together really, really nicely, and I think it's going to be wonderful. Of course, John is working with me on this, and this is a quest into the vile desolation. To the town of Fallow, and it's sort of an infiltration, and it's got some really wonderful things going on. It's got even some moral dilemmas for the party. I mean, it's going to be, I think, a wonderful adventure. So, and the depiction on the cover here when it's done, I think, is going to be magnificent. This is actually Derek who is doing this, and he is just new to doing work with us, but obviously a good friend from Genghis Khan, and we're excited to have him be a part of Gooey Cube and to welcome him as one of our artists.
Yeah. Now, speaking of welcoming people, we are going to bring Josh and Kiah on in a second here. I'm just adjusting them in the frame really quickly. Would you like to introduce Josh and Kiah?
I shall. Hello, my friends. It is Josh and Kiah. They are coming on. So Joshua and Kiah have been very instrumental in the creation of Vilandea, which is what we're talking about today, but have also been helpful in other things as well. You know, little authorships here. And honestly, I think a couple of our books wouldn't even gotten out without Kiah's marvelous editing prowess. But we're going to focus mostly on Vilandea today. So say hello, Josh and Kiah.
Hello.
It's good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. And we're going to talk a little bit about Vilandea today, right? This is our plan.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, yes, of course. Vilandea. Are you okay? See, camera Mandy is adjusting all kinds of things right now. So do this when we say first. You, Josh, go test 1, test 2.
Testing, Goo testing.
Yes, that wasn't quite what I told you to say, but it was close. All right, Kiah, now your turn. So say test 1, test Goo.
Test 1, test Goo.
Very well done. Kiah, you get the gold star. Josh, sorry, go sit in the class. Yes.
I'm pretty good at following directions.
So no, it is marvelous to see. We actually have a little slideshow that we're going to do. But tell us kind of how this thing transpired. Josh, you and I started talking, right? And you expressed this interest about working on Vilandea, which was one of my babies, right? So tell us kind of how that began, right? Go ahead and do that. I'll have a sip of scotch while you talk.
I think.
Yes. Good morning.
we met at SaltCon 2-3 years ago.
2020.
And 2020. That's right. And we right before COVID hit and joined the den, and we started talking, and I was like, hey, I want to write for you, and kind of bothered you enough, I think, and then you finally said, all right, dang it.
You are anything if not persistent, Sir Josh. You are anything if not persistent.
Very persistent, yeah. And then we started talking about East Verdestia, because West Verdestia was already, I think, in layout or in manuscript at that point. And then you kind of showed me the East Verdestia map and told us a little background about, like, here's the tundra, and here's the Avortamalu, and here's the Vilandea Empire. And he said, okay, which one do you feel like you would have more of an affinity to writing towards? And I was like, well, I mean, I'm not evil in nature, but you got to have a good bad guy. And so that really, like, you got to have a good bad guy. And so I was like, I could probably write a good bad guy. And you always have these heroes that adventurers want to write about. And so that's kind of how it started. We went back and forth a little bit about conceptual ideas at a high level, and then we kind of said, okay, they're evil. You know, here's the region and what they're doing. Go and have fun. And that's kind of where we took it. And then I brought Kiah in, and we started brainstorming,
she
and then I
helped
brought
make your
Kiah
writing
further.
better because of her excellent editing skills. Yes. So, so Kiah, what did you think when he said, "So I'm going to write for this crazy Gooey Cube thing"? What did
Well,
you think?
My first memories of it was just listening to some strange man named Alphinius on Discord on Saturday mornings. And I was like, what? Who are you talking to? And little did I know, he roped me right into it, and we started doing, I was excited because I had never written really creatively before. I'd done lots of academic writing and things. And so it was stretching, I guess. I got to learn how to do a lot of things, and I'm still learning how to do a lot of things.
Well, I think the big thing too is,
go ahead, Josh, please.
I think the big thing too is that we get to do it together. I think that was really something that we really enjoyed as far as the creativity process, is that we were able to, be gooey together and contribute, something that we want to do. And it's always been a life goal of mine to get published. So.
Well, you are, my friend. Indeed, you are. So the thing is, so we began this, and we began talking about the Vilandeans, right? Because I told you that I wanted them to be really, pretty bad, because if you think about Verdestia, right? You think about Verdestia, there are really two really big baddies on Verdestia, right? There's Kalnavik, and there is, of course, the supremacists, which we'll talk about later as we go forward, right? There's really two big baddies. And then there's this Avortamalu Elven thing, and they're pretty baddies, right? They're pretty baddies. Then there's sort of these in-betweens, and the in-betweens are all over, right? And so the goal was to really make people not like the Vilandeans, right? This was what we talked about. Remember that? How did I don't know if I want to talk
Let
about
me ask you, should we put out a, maybe children shouldn't be in the room for this discussion?
Oh, no, it's not. I don't think this is,
Okay.
I don't think this is going to be anything too heinous.
Sounds good.
But yes, they're bad. Let's do the maps, because we want to get people oriented. Do you mind taking a moment with us while we do these maps? So this, of course, we do this every time to try to get people, make sure they're oriented in the world. This is the world of Zyathé. And there are 4 major continents. There was 5, but one of them in the middle has been kind of racked. So you really could say there's probably 6 major continents plus Zin and the 2 poles. And Verdestia is the middle left one. Go back real quick, Kimberly. I apologize. Verdestia is that one in the middle left to the west. It's really the one that's all the way off, touching off the edge of the map. And Verdestia was torn asunder. It was broken in 2 during the Woe of Ruin. And so now there's an east and a west Verdestia. And this is what it looks like when you're up close. And then, of course, down there on the what's called the Iron Fang Peninsula is Vilandea, and that is noted in red.
On East Verdestia,
yes,
on the bottom right
right
corner,
yes.
And then this is a close-up of Vilandean.
So this is northern Vilandea,
Okay.
and then there's actually southern Vilandea as well. So let's stay with southern Vilandea. So tell us a little bit about just Vilandea as a nation. Don't get too far into the consorts and all of that kind of stuff, but they're economically and all of that. Tell us a little bit about that, Josh. Will you do that?
Yeah, so Vilandea, they're very expansionistic. They're a relatively new nation in the sense of they've been around for 70 years now, formally. 50, something like that.
50 years. Well done, Kiah. Excellent editing.
And I would say, like, from a cultural perspective, like if you look at them from a big picture level, which we're talking about, from the East Verdestia tome, they're in everyone's business. They're all over the place. They got bits here and there are bits there and bits there, and if you look at it, it's like, oh my gosh, why are the Vilandeans all over the place? And it's like, well, they're bad guys and they're expanding quickly. And so from a culture level, without like diving too much into things, I think the big thing that I wanted to talk about with the Vilandeans at a high level is that their culture is like paranoia. If you had to put your life in the day in the shoes of a Vilandean, right? They're normal people, right? They
just like all of us.
Farm, right? Yeah, but even though they're bad guys, they're not like barbaric, right? They're civilized. They're very advanced, actually, with technical artificery and a huge advanced infrastructure, and it gives them a lot of economical power. in the world at large, right? And so they even have a lot of East Verdestia influences. I mean, West Verdestia influences as well. I think that was an interesting struggle we had is when West Verdestia came out, there was like 20 to 25 references of Vilandea that we had to tie into
Indeed.
our writing, you know? And so,
So wait, so you had to like make all of the stuff that Alphinius had written previously canon somehow.
Yes.
While also,
This is the way it works.
yeah, okay, I see. Clever.
So Kiah, obviously the culture of Vilandea is kind of sick. You know, I kind of liken it to sort of behind the Iron Curtain, right? But there's still a lot of good people there, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean there are good people who don't obviously agree with the government's way that they do things by making everyone do what they want or else. And they also, I mean, some of them want to rebel. A lot of them die when they do so. But I mean, I would say the average person that you would meet there would be, I mean, somewhat normal, but they also might, out of fear, report you to the police, the Iron
authorities. Yes.
Oh.
So let's go to the next. Since we're talking
before
to
before we move on, I have a question from the chat. Wisdom Hunter 7. Are there business dealings shady or corrupt?
So I would like to just answer that real quick because I want to go to this next thing. I would say that they are shady, corrupt, and sometimes honorable. Right? I mean, this is the truth, right? Right, Kiah? Right, Josh? This is they have very dirty dealings, and then they have more above board dealings and trade with certain places, right? So there are some places who won't trade with them, right, Josh?
Oh yes, there's some that won't yet. We'll see.
Yes, until we put the screws, right? This is the
Exactly.
So let's go to the next slide here, cameraman. So tell us, Kiah, tell us about Danaela and the hindrance. I want to, because before we talk about the Vilandians, I want to talk about the hindrance because I like them much better than I like the Vilandians.
Well, I'm pretty partial myself. No, so Danaela is obviously my portrait of character, but she was a wood elf living in the Hazenwood Forest, which is right smack dab in the center of Vilandea. And while Vilandea was kind of taking over, she escaped with some of her people because she saw what was coming and wanted to escape before they murdered them all. And as of now, she is kind of one of the leading forces in the Hindrance, which is a rebellious movement against the Vilandian Empire. And they're functioning in a lot of different ways, trying to take down the Supreme Consorts and the rest of the government.
And Danaela has even been seen in Darken Haven, yes, because you've seen her in the portrait with at Strongarm McGillen. So we know that is the case, yes? So she is trying to drum up support in other nations. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. With the likes of Captain Catway in Ajvin Dune, Torlak from the Republic, and even crazy old Alphinius Goo, who wants to do nothing but, smoke pipe and drink ale.
Goodness gracious, you make me sound like a derelict. Well, I better drink some more scotch.
Oh my
gosh! I get upset.
Oh, hello. There's someone in the background. Hi there.
A little child went down the background stairs.
Yeah.
That is marvelous.
First off, though, I want to say that I love that character arc. I think that is so badass.
Danaela, yes. She's marvelous.
Sorry.
And she is Wood Elven, right? So that's why she has the little bit of pallor of green.
Hi.
And oh, hello. And that's why she has a little pallor of green, and of course the ears and all of that stuff. So she is quite marvelous.
I mean, that's a great NPC encounter for your characters. So
indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. So Danaela she's one of the leaders of the Hindrance, and she actually does do some pretty important things in terms of going against the Vilandian Empire. So Josh, the next slide here, I want you to kind of take over. I want to talk about the history sort of that led, because this is leading into our full tour, right? So I want to talk about the history that really led into the creation of Vilandea and what happened and the wars and all of that kind of stuff. But start with sort of the beginnings, and then we'll do the wars next, because I made 2 slides.
Okay, so do you want me to talk about the history of me writing about it, or just the history and lore of the country?
No, just of the area, right, of the Iron Fang Peninsula and the various groups that were there and all of that.
Yeah, so
Josh, I'm going to have you just shift a little bit to the center of the frame. Sorry, there we go. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, your wife is not very tall and you are extraordinarily tall. So between the two of you, it is kind of a hard thing to get you both in frame, you know.
So the supremacists, you can't start out the history without the supremacists, because the supremacists really are the driving factor behind the history, right?
Don't talk too much about the supremacists yet, because I have slides for you to do it. Just talk about the history.
I won't. But they kind of manipulating a lot of behind the scenes in early Vilandean history, right? And so with that context, there was 3 nations on the Iron Fang Peninsula that really dominated that region. And they dominated that, centuries, right?
Yes, for centuries.
They kind of, basically post-woe, for many centuries. The Hazenwood Fairy and Unseelie and Seelie there, they lived among them, kind of, neutral, I think, to a lot of the provinces in that regard. And they just kind of grew, right? They just kind of grew, and they kind of overpopulated the peninsula and the space there. So they led a little bit of friction with the Seelie and the Unseelie. They didn't really like their neighbors encroaching on their wood territory. And then eventually, all of them, monarchy territories, kind of started having contentious arguments and banter back and forth, and territories rebound and redrawn over, this became that and this territory and all this stuff, right? Without getting into the whole timeline of the Iron Fang Peninsula, which I could do, but I won't.
Yes, it's too much for the show, right?
Is this all in East Verdestia? Is this the point to plug the East Verdestia?
But there was the three major sovereignties that really came into play towards the last probably 200 years or so from modern day. So if you go from modern day, current day, where the Red Star Rising is, I think it's 1212.
Yes, correct.
1212 current day. And then we go fast forward 200 years prior, and that's kind of where history really starts to really explode and get more in context. So that's kind of the pre-history, and I don't know if you want to go to the next slide.
Yes,
or you
go
want
to
me
the next
talk
slide.
more about.
So this begat a series of wars, right? This is very important because this is actually a depiction of Zoldothran in his armor with his powers and all of that stuff. And we'll talk again. I don't want to talk too much about the supremacists yet or Zoldothran, but basically talk about the wars.
This picture, Alphinius, is actually Braz de Fear, who was one of the consorts. But
you're right. It's Braz. I apologize. Not Zoldothran. Yes, my apologies. Braz. Here's to you, you vile piece of you know what.
Thank you, Kiah, for keeping Alphinius on his game and fact-checking him live on air.
Excellent editing again. Very good, very good. We are proud of you. Yes. So go ahead. Tell us about these wars and how it ended up at the end.
Yeah, so the thing about the wars that's really important to know is that there was the Endernic sovereign, sovereignty or sovereign that really was where Vilandea birthplace became. Mm-hmm. And the other two sovereignties, they started to kind of overtake, right? So the Endernic sovereign out of the three was kind of the underdog. And they started getting really oppressed. And it just in trade and they got taken, a lot of the territory got taken over, and the people were treated really poorly as the years kind of went on, and they started to fight back. And as they started to win, there was the other two sovereignties kind of employed how shall we say, unexpected measures to have them give advantages that you can read about in the lore, to give them a cutting edge. And they started really overtake the Endernic Sovereign to where they actually did overtake it, almost in its entirety. And as that happened, the king of the Endernic Sovereign was approached by a couple shady figures.
Oh, a trio of
A
shady
trio
Three
of
of
shady
them.
figures.
Yes, there was three shady figures. Yes, elves.
And,
they were all elves. Yes, they were all elves.
Yes,
Yeah,
all elves. Yeah,
these elves.
and and they approached the king and they're like, hey, you give us a position in your court and we'll overcome your enemies, right? And the king, being desperate at that time, was like, hey, I'll take anything, right? I don't know who these people are, but if they're willing to help, they'll help. And so that's really where the wars started to take place, because now the underdog became fought back a lot harder, right? And these three shady figures, of course, are the supremacists. And they started to overtake their enemies in war. So much so that they took over the entire peninsula, and they united it underneath the banner of the Vilandea Empire. However, what's important before that is they used a lot of means and espionage, right? So before they united the Vilandea Empire, they actually blamed the king a lot on the current day livings, right? Because they took over all this land and the people thought, oh, it's going to be so great. But there was a lot of rebellion, right? So you take over land. There's, of course, the people that you take over aren't really going to be happy with their new seated monarch, right? They were happy with the old guy. And so with that, the supremacists actually convinced the people, or kind of let the people overthrow their own king and appoint the three supremacists while pulling strings as a new kind of leaders. And thus the Vilandea Empire was born.
And that was when it moved from the Edornic sovereignty to the Vilandean Empire, right? That is when the Iron Glove, and we'll talk about the Iron Glove in a moment. So I want to move to the next slide, and I want Kiah to talk about this personage, not you, Josh. So Kiah, I want you to tell us about Zoldothrin Vildreen. Yes, I want you to tell us all about this this unique and interesting and very scary individual.
I would call him a vile individual, yes.
Vile. That's why Vilandea, right? I did it on purpose. Named it that way. Yes.
Well, and yeah, they are villains indeed. Well, Zoldothrin Vildreen he, along with the other supreme consorts, hail from the Aethernic Age. And as
this is important.
portrait,
I want to interrupt you for a second, Kiah. This is important,
go
right?
ahead.
Because they were there before the woe. All three of them, yes?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it is even whispered that Zoldothrin had a relationship in some ways with Galcianthros. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
He was known to him. Knew not to trifle with his power, as they say.
Oh, my goodness.
Indeed. All right. I just wanted to make sure that point was clear with everyone, because these are pre-Aethernic peoples and very interesting.
Yes.
So continue on, Kiah, please.
Yes, and as you see from his portrait, he doesn't quite look, centuries old. At least not to me. Even though he is an elf, they don't live that long. And he had a lot of, goals in life, I suppose. He had a lot of desires for power.
Yes, he is ambitious.
Yes, a lot of ambition and seeking to be, he has, this tragic backstory, at least he would call it tragic, I'm sure. And that, eventually led to him being somewhat, or wholly deranged. And so he sought a lot of power, and he teamed up with Telvanorn Kolvarath and Vexnia Koltruz, the other supreme consorts, and kind of came into some technic artificentry, and together they sought to attempt to find the 13th cycle of magic, which is beyond even the 12th cycle of magic, which was available at that time.
Yes, let me interrupt you on that real quick just to make sure everyone understands. So prior to the woe, there were not just 9 cycles of magic like in our current world of Zyathé. There were 12 that were usable by mortals and the gods. But there is said to be a 13th cycle, which is basically just one spell. It is called the Way of All Things, and it is the words that Avova spoke when he brought the Eterniverse into existence. So this is the 13th cycle, and it is, as far as anyone knows, unattainable, even though this is what Galcianthros was seeking to attain when he caused the Woe of Ruin. Yes, so this is marvelous, right?
Yeah.
So continue on, please, Kiah, please.
Yeah, so they attempted to build a sort of machination with which to achieve this power, and their plans were found out, or they were presented, and they were essentially cast out of Ethernic circles. And
because
so they
Etherns did not want anyone messing with the 13th cycle because they were afraid, right? This is they were afraid.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
And rightly so.
So
rightly so.
Rightly so, yes. And so, I mean, this is presumably where Zoldathrin would have been in Galcianthros' circles, right? Because they would have been, two weirdos of the same mind. and so the 3 of them left and ventured into the Underdelve and continued their experiments there. But then the Woe of Ruin happened, and they were unable to finish their experiments. And so after the Woe of Ruin, they were kind of in a pickle because they lost their way of somewhat extending their life. They were kind of able to do this by other means, in just with the power that they were able to use in spells and spellcasting and whatnot.
But I want to stop you there. I don't want you to give away the punchline. We're going to do this and we're going to talk what you were about to talk about at the end here. So okay. Basically, they make it through the Woe of Ruin. They begin to journey around the world, seeing all the devastation, trying to figure out, how come they can't cast 11th, 12th, and 13th, 12th, 10th, 11th, and 12th cycle spells anymore, and they're doing all of this stuff, and they end up coming to this Iron Fang Peninsula where they see an opportunity, right? And so this, and you can go to the next slide if you want to, cameraman. And so this is the founding of the Dominus, right? Which is the raising of the Iron Glove, right? So Josh, tell us a little bit about the Dominus and the raising of the Iron Glove, and sort of, I sort of liken, I think I mentioned earlier, I sort of liken Vilandea to a little bit behind the Iron Curtain in the days of the Soviet Union, right? So I sort of liken it to that a little bit. So tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll continue.
Should we give the salute, the Vilandean salute?
Yes, the Vilandean salute.
So the Iron Glove, after the Vilandean Empire was formed, the Dominus, or the Iron Glove as they're called, the Imperial Protectorate, was another name by which they're known or feared. And they're kind of like your police force, right? They are the enforcers of the will in all things what the 3 supreme consorts wish.
So this is the secret police of the consorts, correct? The Iron Glove, right? And also a name that they use for the banner as well, right? People call it the Iron Fist, they call it the Iron Glove, all that kind of stuff. But this is the secret police. Yeah,
I would say they're somewhat secret, and they're also not so secret, right? I mean,
it's like the KGB, right? Everybody knew about them, but nobody was supposed to know about them. Yeah.
Exactly. They know of them, but they don't know exactly all the means by which they employ to do their tasks.
I mean, that's kind of almost more effective, though. They're like working in the shadows, trying to scare people.
No, the Iron Glove is scary. They're really, really scary, and really a wonder. And again, all of this stuff feeds into your games, right? This is the idea, right? You've got nemesis, and you've got all these wonderful things going on. And now, how do you infiltrate Vilandea if you have to do something there? All of this kind of stuff is what makes it so fun. So I apologize, Josh. Please continue.
You're fine. I think the biggest thing about the iconic thing about the glove, right, is that's a very Vilandean trademark. And each citizen is required to wear a glove with some insignia of rank or trade or responsibility, task, contribution to the empire, right? And they have to show this upon entry into cities, upon, normal greetings and salutations. It's just a custom that they do. And it is very odd if you travel without a glove. So
but only on the right hand,
foreigner,
correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
And it's not just black. It's black. They can be different colors, but the Iron Glove, as in the organization, wear black gloves. Yes. That's very distinctive to their organization, and hence the Dominus has the black glove.
Right, as do the
This is also true.
So why?
Can we do something before we go?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to start our giveaway because we're getting to the end of the show.
We're almost done.
Okay, but I just want to say before we do, if everyone can go to gooeycube.com/prizes if you have not already and filled out the form. Yes.
gooeycube.com/prizes, and please fill out the form.
Before we enter.
This is making it easier for us because we want to continue to do all this prize giveaway and fun stuff that we're doing, and we want to make it easier on our poor Goo crew around here to fulfill these prizes when we give them away on the streams and all of that stuff. So if you have not done so, please go to gooeycube.com/prizes and fill out that little form there. And also, if you would please, give a little click to follow us here on this Twitch channel. That would be marvelous. And I have one other request of folks, now that some of these new pieces are getting out there. We have an opportunity to review things on our website. Chapter 4, East Verdestia, West Verdestia, the map packs and all of that stuff. If you have a mind to, even if you don't want to write anything, if you just could go there and give us a review and keep the information for people who are interested in purchasing stuff. Certainly we'd appreciate a 5-star, but if you don't think we deserve that, we're not going to try to ask you to give us something else. Give us that 5-star if we don't deserve it, but we think we deserve it, so please consider doing so. And a little write-up. But right now, please go to gooeycube.com/prizes if you would do that and fill out that form. Yeah. All right, how about that? Is there a commercial announcement?
Yes, now please continue.
Well done, cameraman. Okay. Well done. All right, so continue, Josh, please. So the Iron Glove, everyone's wearing gloves. Why do they wear the gloves? What is the history of this? Because I think this is really marvelous. I loved it when we were sort of talking about it and brainstorming it together, and when how you all brought this idea. And it is really, I think it's wonderful. So please continue.
Yeah, so the supremacists themselves actually wear the glove, not only to have a trademark and kind of, be that uniting to the cause, but they also hide something underneath their hands as a scar from their experiments and their dabbling with crooksix sorcery.
Yeah, so there's a withering, right? There's a withering, some kind of corruption going on, right? And there's some believe that who are in the high circles who have knowledge of these things, right? Some believe that this corruption is slowly overtaking them, right? We just don't know, right? This is a tale in the background, yes?
This is a tale in the telling at your table, for sure. But the Iron Glove definitely has a lot of connection back to the supremacists. It's iconic both to represent their leadership, but also the will of the leadership to the people through their servants, right? Being the Iron Glove in themselves.
So people even in Vilandea, they wear these gloves, and so many people are more soft. They have to learn to work with their left hands a lot more too, right? So this is another thing for all the righties. They got.
Well, I would say that there would be different gloves for different purposes. So like if you kept horses and whatnot, you wouldn't be wearing like a silk glove, right? Yes. You would have like a hard, leather glove or whatnot.
And I would think there's all kinds of cool magical gloves too, Kiah, right?
Heck yeah. Yeah.
And one thing that's interesting about the gloves themselves is there's an identification slate or disc that actually goes into the glove itself that is magical to allow the identity of the person, right? Because you can't just walk into Vilandea with a glove and expect people, to be, oh yeah, come on in, Vilandea, yeah, right? You gotta register. They're very good at record keeping. Right, they keep tabs on all of this.
the gloves hold these little discs, right, in the back that actually there's some of them that give information, and there's, like, even people are tracked by them and stuff like that. There's a lot of curiosity with it. Yeah. All right, let's go to the last slide, because now I want you to tell this tale, Kiah. So the supremacists have to be at least 1,400 years old, yes, which even for elven folk is starting to get very long in the tooth. And they don't really look very old at all. So we're gonna close and then do our giveaway. We're gonna close with this little tale, because I think this tale is quite amazing and scary, and it is about why the blood-touched people are not really found in Vilandea and why they disappear there. Please continue, Kiah. This is your dance.
Yes, so Danalea is actually one of the first people to really discover this information. And this is what put her into action, to act against these mages at the time, because she was completely horrified with what she found out and thought, like, if they're going to be doing this, I mean, who knows what else they will do. So the supremacists, after the Woe of Ruin, began, feeling the effects of age, and they, thought to them, the clock was ticking. They said, we have to discover, before we can even continue, seeking out the high levels of magic and seeking out a way to restore these, we have to have a way to continue living. Because obviously you can't do that in a day. And so they did a lot of experimenting and began experimenting with different magical creatures and magical persons, and really anyone that they could get their hands on, to see if there was a way to extract magic from their surroundings, because they kind of took inspiration from Zytherium, which is the substance that runs through the veins of the Enzandra Ops, which are the mechanical race that the Therns kind of created. And Vexnia actually was part of that. So she was she was a technic fabricationist. Yes, yeah, and she kind of worked on the Enzandra, so she kind of had this idea. And after the Woe of Ruin, blood-touched people became more and more common. I mean, they're still not very common, but they kind of took an interest, because usually along with the blood touch, obviously they can show some magical properties or affinities. And so they began experimenting on the blood touch folk, and ultimately discovered a way, through a combination of machination and other magic practices and Crooksic sorcery,
yes, of course,
to extract the blood of the blood touch and create a concentration, distill a concentration of magic from this blood, and it's called the Zythric serum.
Yes.
And the process of getting this serum is completely disgusting. I'll save the description for the actual book, because I'm really proud of it. I creeped myself out. But anyway, it often leaves the blood touch folk either dead or drained and
wrung dry.
Turned into something quite terrible. Yes.
Turned into something that we like to call neither zombies. So
this is a very interesting thing, and I'm gonna stop there, because I don't want to give away any more. We're gonna talk more about Zythric serum and talk a little bit more on the next tour, and see what people have to say. But what do you think, cameraman? We're right on time. We're doing good.
Yeah, and the giveaway is open right now. It is under exclamation point, happy birthday, Josh.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It's Josh's
happy
birthday.
birthday.
Happy birthday. Yes. So how do people enter this for this?
Hashtag, or sorry, not hashtag, exclamation point, happy birthday, Josh.
So put an exclamation point and then type happy birthday, Josh, with spaces or no spaces?
No spaces.
No spaces. The exclamation point, happy birthday, Josh. And when you type that in there, and happy birthday, Josh, yay. And when you type that in there, two of you will be selected to win one of these marvelous folios, either Quember or Neftalia. So while people are doing that, Josh, any last words you want to throw out to the audience and about Vilandea?
Yeah, one thing that I think is really important when I went into the writing of Vilandea, I really wanted to put myself in the game master's shoes, right? Because that's everything that we do with these tomes is for the game master and for the table. And I wanted Vilandea to be a place where when they played, they could play a whole campaign in just Vilandea. And so if you look at, like, for example, when I went into making Vilandea and the political intrigue that would exist with just the culture of Vilandea that we've already described, you kind of start at, like, the supremacist is like your end game boss, right? And you work your way through. And we architected the government system and the town structure around this concept of, if you were to play from level 0, 1 to 20, 20 being, you're fighting Zoldoth Rin and his, Rimtravak castle, that you would be able to play all of that. And so I really want to make that really important, that Vilandea is a place that it's not just barbaric, it's not just people hack and slash and everyone on the side. It's, people farm, and it's not like you have a surveillance camera always looking at you, but it's more of, I'm my brother's keeper. Almost too much my brother's keeper, right? And
enslaver.
But
yes, they are one of the slaveholders too. So they are. Josh, I tell you, Kiah, both of you, it was a wonderful experience of working with you on this and going through the process of creating it and all of that stuff. We are going to continue the tour next week, and then we'll kind of go through the areas and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, you don't need to come hang out for that. But it was so, oh gosh, Kiah, you almost got bumped in the nose there, So do we have winners, cameraman D?
I'm about to roll the winners right now.
Here she goes. She's going to roll the winners.
Okay.
Here we go.
So our first winner is Randy.
Randy, congratulations.
So Randy won, which one? Hold up the folio. Randy
Hold on a moment.
That's not a numbered die.
It has numbers on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It is Neftalia.
Oh, Randy won Neftalia. Well, that sounds weird. Oh, and Elisnor, who I believe is Damien. Is that right?
Alcinor?
Yeah.
I think so.
I could be wrong. But yes, congratulations. So you won
Quember.
So if I have that right. But we will send that one with his custom folio.
As long as Alcinor filled out the form, life is good.
Yes.
As long as Randy filled out the form, life is good. Yes?
Okay, yes. And so also, Damien, since I have you here, has he sent over his custom portrait?
He hasn't done his stuff yet.
Yes, okay, get on it. Anyway.
Let us run, my friends. I just want to tell you, thank you for all the well wishes. I want to assure you, I am just fine. I am actually good. And there's nothing to be concerned about. It is a good thing that I had this surgery, and all is well with Alphinius. There's nothing scary, nothing to be worried about, and I am excited to continue on. I feel great. And we will continue on together. Josh and Kiah, thank you so much. You were marvelous, and I hope everyone really enjoyed this sort of interview with the authors and the opportunity to talk about Vilandea. We'll talk more about that next week. I didn't do the contributor submissions, which means we're going to have to wait till next week because we're at the end of the time. But I will do that as well next week for the contributor stuff for the next round. I'm pretty excited about it. It's kind of a new thing we've never done before. And I can't think of anything else.
Thank you all so much for your patience as we get through the rest of the shipping. So
indeed, we're getting close though. We have shipped out a lot of boxes. So Kiah and Josh, may all your adventures
be sticky noted.
Sticky.
Sorry. Boy.